Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Dear students and friends, I am very happy that I am going to discuss a subject which is very favorite of mine, Indian ethos in management. This is such an important subject. It's that there's a lot of treasure on Indian ethos, but unfortunately, over the period of time, this has somewhere got lost. And the best part of this lecture is that not only we're going to discuss about Indian ethos, we are going to try and bring its relevance to today's management, to the management of next 10 years, next 50 years, next 100 years. This is the eternal truths. So let us dive deep into it. So what is exactly the Indian ethos in management? It refers to the values and practices that the culture of India, what we call the Bharatiya Sanskriti, can contribute to service, leadership and management. So as we know that though we are enamored of the Western civilization, but actually the Indian civilization is much more older and much more richer. It is quite sad that if something is told to us that it is actually being brought from the West, we feel very good about it. Like suppose we cannot work without the decimal system, but that has been actually been done in India, Bharat. But if we are told that it has been done in the West, where adaptation is more. This attitude is, we should try and change this attitude. So what does the word ethos mean? I am talking about Indian ethos. We know India is Bharat. What does ethos means? It's a Greek word meaning the distinguishing character, sentiments, moral nature or guiding beliefs of a person, group or institution. The guiding beliefs or ideals that characterize a community, nation or ideology. Now, let me give a very good example. Like for example in India, भारतीय जो हम लोग होते हैं, किसी बड़े को देखने से तुरंत जाके प्रणाम कर लेते हैं बड़े किसी को. ये वेस्ट का कभी आदमी करेगा ही नहीं. So this is the Indian ethos जो हमारे ग्रैंडफादर ने फादर को सिखाया था, फादर ने हमको सिखाया. तो मन से आ जाता है कि टीचर को रेस्पेक्ट करें. So this is a part of the Indian ethos. अभी हम लोग सोचते हैं कि ये सब फालतू चीज़ है, लेकिन ये सब में बहुत ही these are all very good practices and we should try to see how this will be applicable in management also. Now what is management? Ekdam, because basically I'm a finance professor. So if you look at the corporate finance, any book written in the Western authors, they will always say ki focus on maximizing the shareholders' wealth. And second thing, as you know, because of the stock market, all large companies, CEOs, they are focusing on the short-term results, the quarterly results. So when you focus too much on the short term, you can understand, dear students and friends, your long term will get neglected. Now what is the Indian ethos? It says maximize the stakeholders' wealth in the long term. Now what's the difference between stakeholders and shareholders? Shareholders, I agree with you, is a very important part because they are taking the risk capital, they are taking the risk of the organization. But they are just one important part of the whole organization. Any organization will have customers, suppliers, employees. So don't you think that is also important? Second thing is, this organization, whichever it is going to draw its employees from the society and it is going to take the resources from the society. So it cannot so happen that an organization keeps on depleting the resources and nothing is left for our next generation. So what is the Indian ethos saying? Let us maximize the stakeholders' wealth in the long term. Long term does not mean 5 years. We are saying 100 years, 100 saal. And a very good example, there are many good examples, but I'll give you one example. Like when the Tatas built the company Tisco in Jamshedpur, can you believe that the founder, he said, Jamshedji Tata said, we must have a township, we must have schools for employees' children, we must have hospital, we must have parks. Can you believe this noble thinking? This is what, but if you do a Google, because nowadays you've got Google, you've got ChatGPT, if you do a ChatGPT search, my friends, there are even larger organizations in USA. Let there be General Motors, let there be Ford, let there be General Electric. But if you Google, you'll find that they'll never be building a school or hospital. They'll maybe give a medical insurance for the employees. This is where the superiority comes in. Now, introduction to Bharatiya Sanskriti. It refers to India's diverse and ancient cultural heritage, the richness of Indian culture. It encompasses traditions, philosophy, art, literature, spirituality and values. And Indian culture has evolved over thousands of years, influenced by great civilizations. You know it, you must have read it in the school books, a quick revision. But it is only a small part in our school history, so we don't give much attention to it. But Indus Valley Civilization, 3300 BC, the planning of the roads and all, it is marvelous. The early urban culture came in. The Vedic period, 1500 BC, where the foundations of the Hindu traditions were laid. Then of course in school we had a small chapter on Maurya and Gupta empires, which were the golden age of Indian philosophy and science. Then you had medieval and modern influence and blending of diverse cultural traditions. Now we all have heard of these Vedas. कहीं ना कहीं हम लोग के grandfather बोलते हैं Vedas. So the Vedas are a collection of ancient Sanskrit texts, including the Rig Ved, Sam Ved, Yajur Ved and Atharva Ved. That time when the Vedas were there, it was basically about cattle and agriculture society. So Vedas focused that nature which is there, Mother Nature, the sky, the air, the fire, the wind, we must pray to them. So they came out with a lot of rituals, hymns, prayers and religious practices. And Vedas the purpose was to preserve the knowledge of religious customs, traditions and philosophical concepts. Very briefly, it will take 1 year of lectures to speak, but we will make it very short. The Rig Veda is the oldest Veda, composed of hymns dedicated to various deities like Agni, Indra and Varuna. It forms the foundation of Vedic knowledge and spiritual thought. Then you come to Sam Veda, known as the Veda of melodies and chants. It is derived mainly from the Rig Veda and is meant to be sung, used in rituals and worship. Do you know, friends, that now it has been found out that if you do the hymns and the pronunciation properly, it leads to a very good vibration and it has a very good impact on your health and the environment. That modern science is finding out. Then you have Yajur Ved. It contains prose mantras and rituals. It is divided into two parts, Shukla and Krishna. It serves as a guide for priests performing yagyas, the sacrifices. And then you have Atharva Ved. It deals with everyday life, healing rituals and philosophical hymns. It includes knowledge of medicine, astrology and practical life guidance. So can you believe, friends, that so many years back there was focus on medicine. Now I am coming to Gurukul system. Why? Because we got this knowledge, how to pass it on. So they had this wonderful thing called the Gurukul system. You all know it more or less. We'll just go into the depth, the pros and cons. So it's a very ancient method of education where students, they're called Shishyas. They lived with their teacher, Guru in an ashram. We know of that Arjun Yudhishthira staying with Dronacharya. And that was about the holistic education. Included subjects like Vedas, philosophy, mathematics, science, arts, warfare, and also ethics. Today, friends, we are all having graduate, postgraduate, doctorate, but very little focus on ethics. So what is the point of being a great leader, great businessman if you don't follow ethics? So Gurukul was focusing on a holistic education. And this Guru Shishya tradition, it emphasized on a very close, respectful relationship between the teacher and the student. You know how it was like Arjun and Dronacharya. Arjun could do anything but Dronacharya. Today we know how much of disrespect is happening between the teacher and the students. We will not go into details, but I am just trying to tell you that is it not good that the teacher was considered even higher than a father, right? That is what we should strive for, and no need to copy the West blindly. We have got such a good tradition. So let us try to produce good teachers like Dronacharya and good students like Arjun and Yudhishthir. That is the idea. Practical and moral training. So along with academic knowledge, students were trained in self-sufficiency and moral values. Again, the importance is moral values. Today we are all talking, there is a decline in moral values. However prosperous West may be, we cannot give them very high marks in ethics and moral values. No fixed fee. So it is not that today the parents are so much under pressure कि बच्चों कैसे पढ़ाएंगे, इतना high fees है. So there was no high fixed fees, only Guru Dakshina. So depending on the capability of the student, he will give a Guru Dakshina. And learning through experience means emphasis was on memorization, oral traditions and practical application knowledge. So that knowledge could pass on from one generation to the other and other. That's how it is. Now such a wonderful system, how did it decline? Because we came under British rule. And British not only conquered us militarily, what do you do? To break the backbone of society, you break the education system. So they broke the Gurukul system, and the shift was from oral to written education. It is good to have modern education institutions with structured curriculums, but can we blend the modern thing with the Gurukul system? But I am very happy that the Gurukul philosophy, it is influencing the modern education in a big way. For example, the value-based education. Today there is too much focus on marks, and modern schools are emphasizing very little on moral and ethical education, which were the main thing of the Gurukul traditions. Now I would like to give you one example. There are bad students like Duryodhan and there are good students like Arjun. So it is very interesting to know, when there is a war, everything breaks down, or moral values, everything breaks down. Now you look at a stage when Arjun's mentor Lord Krishna is telling that you cannot defeat Dronacharya, in a direct war. So we have to convince Dronacharya that Ashwatthama, his son, is dead. And Lord Krishna tells Arjun that Ashwatthama is such a big warrior, no one else can ever think of killing Ashwatthama. So Arjun, you also cannot kill him, but actually what we have to do is tell a lie to a guru. Just go and tell a lie that you have killed Ashwatthama. Because as soon as Dronacharya has a blind love for his son Ashwatthama, so as soon as he knows that Ashwatthama is dead, he will lay down his arms. That was the master plan. But you know what Arjun said? Lord Krishna, you are my mentor, but I cannot tell a lie to my guru. Look at the depth of the relationship between the Acharya and the student. So this, whereas we should not dismiss everything, what is happening today unfortunately is that whatever is past we are dismissing. I am saying that modern thing we must have a modern curriculum, because we must have artificial intelligence, we must have machine learning, we must have generative AI, no how. But the good side of it, that can be retained. The whole purpose, I think, of this lecture and to be served is, if you can pick up the good things of the Indian ethos, that is important. We are not against modernity, because the time has come for using artificial intelligence. Like someone can say that, we had this telephones and why have mobiles? Let us stay in the Gurukul. No, I am not saying that. I am saying we must bring in latest technology, but at the same time, let us not be so engrossed. Today what is happening, you will realize that most of us, most of the children are so engrossed in mobile phones that even in dinner they are having the headphone and they are listening, and there is no communication between the child and the parent. This total breakdown is happening. So mobile phone is very good if you use it properly, but it is not good if you not. So what I am saying is only one thing. Let us take the good side of the Indian ethos and do it. Introducing courses on ethics, discipline, gratitude and mindfulness to shape students into responsible citizens. So the word here is responsible citizen, Jimmedar Nagrik. How many of us can say people around us are Jimmedar Nagrik? How many of us feel the need to have gratitude? Today it is very unfortunate. It is not my data. If you look at newspaper, you will find that many times the children are not taking care of their old parents. Now, the parents only bring you to this earth. It's a cycle that has to be done, because otherwise, now one day your father is young, he is paying your school fees, you go to your college, you're going to higher studies. But one day your father, mother will become 65, 70, 75. So should you have no gratitude for them, gratefulness for them? Should you only go for a race? So these words are very, very important. We don't have to go to the West. You have to be gratitude, a gratefulness. कि हमने parents ने इतना किया. And this was true. Today what is happening is, because of the decline of value-based education, even 100 years back, the father would retire, build a house, and he had 4 sons, maybe one is outside. अब मेरे बेटे लोग चलाएंगे. So there is no fear of old age. Today, friends, you do a survey, you will find people are so scared of their old age because the children are far away and they are not even sending resources. Many cases, not all. There are some Suputra, but all are not Suputra. This is because we are only running after career. So the word I am emphasizing, the value based, is, what is value based? Gratitude, mindfulness. Today while eating we are listening to things, mindful of the environment, mindful of the present. That is very important. Therefore we must have moral science classes. It must be imbibed in us. You must have yoga, meditation sessions from school itself in a serious way. Not that in a whole week only one class for yoga, one class meditation. That has to be imbibed in us. And the best part is that the West is now taking advantage of yoga and meditation. And we are forgetting our own Indian ethos, right? Experiential and practical learning, because in Gurukul students learn through hands-on experience rather than rote memorization. Today you are seeing a phenomena called, we call it educated unemployed. A degree of MSc, MA, no jobs, because you don't have any hands-on experience. You have studied for 21 years, no hands-on experience. Now, the only way, I am giving in a bigger picture, as you know, roughly more than 1 crore people are entering the job market every year in India. No government can create maybe 1 crore jobs for our young generation. So they must be having skills. The requirement is skills. So this was there in our Indian ethos. It was there in Gurukuls. So modern education system is trying to learn project-based learning, internships and real-world applications. I am myself a student from IIT and I used to get very good marks. In our time, mechanical engineering was the highest and I used to be a mechanical engineer. But I can tell you, friends, that me and most of my good friends who got very good marks, we actually have very little practical idea of mechanical engineering, even though we studied at IIT. So therefore, we must have skill-based education. So Gurukul ka the good things we must try to take. Strong teacher-student bond, the mentorship system. Now, as I mentioned about, when you talk of Guru Shishya, we think of Arjuna and Dronacharya, or Yudhishthira and Dronacharya. So Guru Shishya, the teacher-student relationship was a cornerstone. Today, are you not seeing it is coming back? in the sense that instead of saying Gurukul, we are saying, okay, this faculty is a mentor to, besides the faculty, he is becoming a mentor. So many good universities and workplaces, when suppose they take 10 management trainees, so many good companies now say, okay, we are assigning a senior employee as a mentor for you, so that you can come and get quickly acclimatized to the new environment and you can learn under the expert guidance. So because nowadays the number of students who are entering is very large and the teacher-student ratio is quite high. So therefore it is necessary that after the class also a kind of a mentoring is done. So this is what I am trying to explain is, this is already there in the past. We have used a new word called mentor. कितना बढ़िया सिखा है वेस्टर्न एजुकेशन, अरे भैया दिस इज ऑलरेडी देयर. आप आपका इतिहास पहले जान लीजिए, उसमें से अच्छा चीज़ लीजिए, सब है, खाली नाम आपका इंग्लिश में आ गया है. तो ये मेंटरिंग जो है, ट्यूटरिंग जो है, ये है. सो सबसे बड़ा गुरु है हमारे पिताजी माताजी, और अच्छे जो टीचर हैं वो भी आपके मेंटर बन सकते हैं, बिकॉज वो आपके पास उन लोगों का जो अनुभव है उनको आप कैसे लेंगे. क्लास में क्या होगा, एक क्लास में 60, 80, 100 जन करके बैठे हुए हैं, तो देयर इज नो डायरेक्ट mentoring possible. So there is a breakout sessions and we can do that. You will agree that many times you have seen that someone has got 90% marks, but in the real world he is not able to do well. Why is that happening? It is happening because he has no practical idea of the real world. Because world is not a straight line. In the examination, one question paper to all of us. In the real world, all of us will have different question paper. It will throw different challenges, and how you relate to that challenge is very important. So then we come to residential schools and ashram based learning. So some schools and colleges follow the Gurukul model, where students live on campus and learn in a structured, disciplined environment. Now I am not trying to promote any particular school. I gave some names of 1 or 2 schools here which is there in the internet, because I have nothing to do with any particular school. But I am saying many parents also sometimes want that their children go and stay in the hostel. We all know that there is a lot of importance of staying in a hostel, and like there is a Ramakrishna mission, for example. So after class 4, you actually still following a Gurukul system. And many parents, modern parents, want their children to go and study in a Ramakrishna mission, for example. So life for all of us is complicated. No one's life is a straight line. Even let us say if you take the life of Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, I am saying because he is so successful, but he had his ups and downs. So until unless we don't have the Indian ethos deeply rooted, what is the advantage of Indian ethos is that when life throws this kind of arrows at you, difficult situation at you, you can only cope if you have a very strong fundamental base. Now, there are 2 ways in which the knowledge was passed on. One was called the Shruti, the other was called the Smriti. Shruti means, let's go to Shruti first. That which is heard. What is the source? You would always see a rishi in very deep meditation. So when they have a very deep meditation, they are many times hearing a lot of things which come from the superconscious in a deep meditation stage. And those are the supreme authority and the eternal truth. So you have things like the Vedas and the Upanishads, which are the Shruti. Today, all the time we are talking. If you look at anyone around you, and the Western culture is saying that be very talkative, be a very external person, go around and talk. Let's, dear friends, So friends, as you see that if you look at your own life, how much time, I'm repeating that, how much time in a 24-hour span you're spending time with yourself. If you leave out the 7-8 hours sleep also, 20 minutes in a day, I am not talking meditation also, even deeply, are you able to spend any time with yourself to understand who you are, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses? You did not go to a counselor, you yourself can do it. But we are now exteriorized, all the time we are exteriorized. And the Indian ethos is looking internal, because the whole world, the whole universe is within us. So it is all right to read books and everything, but more important is to look inside. Because it is easy, you take out an army and conquer someone. Most difficult is to conquer yourself. Then we come to Smriti, that which is remembered. So that is basically the human recollection inspired by Shruti. From Shruti is the main thing, what the sages heard. Then you come back to the human recollection. There is the secondary authority. It is flexible, it is time bound, and you have got some amazing, epics like Mahabharata and Ramayana. And this was written by great sage called like Mahabharata by Rishi Vedavyas. Now, because you're young, so you can link to a movie. So movie is Sholay, and you thought Sholay is such a great movie, all of us know it. But believe me, after 25 years, no one will talk of Sholay. There is this movie called DDLJ, दिल वाले दुल्हनिया ले जाएंगे. इतना दिन चला ना, बट मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ यकीन के साथ, आप भी मानेंगे 25 साल बाद से कोई याद नहीं रखेगा. बट जब महाभारत होता था ना, VR चोपड़ा गए, तो कितने हजार साल, यू आर यंग दैट टाइम, यू मे नॉट बी नोइंग, पूरा इंडिया में कर्फ्यू लग रहा था. सब लोग बैठ के महाभारत देखते थे. एक चीज, एक स्टोरी इतना साल पुराना आज भी रेलिवेंट है, बट हम लोग के पास टाइम ही नहीं है वो ढूंढने का, उसका रेलिवेंस ढूंढने का टाइम नहीं है. मैं आपको यकीन के साथ कह सकता हूँ कि हर एक सिचुएशन जो है, अगर आप रामायण और महाभारत से पढ़ ले, बाकी सबको छोड़ दीजिए, उससे आप रिलेट कर सकते हैं, सीख सकते हैं, एंड यू कैन इम्प्रूव ऑन दैट बेसिकली. सो ये सब चीज़ जो है, अनफॉर्चुनेटली, इफ समवन टेल्स यू, टेल मी 2 मोस्ट इन्फ्लुएंशियल बुक्स दैट यू हैव रेड, टू लुक स्मार्ट, you will say about some Western author, about some Western book. It is not something that, do you have the courage to say, okay, Mahabharata was a great book and I was greatly influenced by Mahabharata? You are not able to say that. That is because of the colonization by British for 200 years. We have started believing that whatever is Indian is inferior, whatever is Japanese, whatever is European, whatever is American is better. So I am very happy that I am able to speak to you, and I am trying to only explain to you to believe in yourself, to believe in the Indian ethos. The purpose of this lecture, I am very happy that I got this platform, that हम लोग में जो गोल्डन ट्रेजर है हम लोग का खुद का, जो कोहिनूर है हमारे अंदर, हमारी संस्कृति में, भारतीय संस्कृति में, उसी से हम लोग फिर से क्यों ना कुछ सीखें. और मैं आपको बता सकता हूं कि आपका नेक्स्ट जो लाइफ है, जो अगर आप, हम लोग जो बोल रहे हैं, वेद, उपनिषद, महाभारत, रामायण, और भी है, पुराण है, वो कुछ बहुत कुछ है, लेकिन इतना भी अगर हम लोग कर लें तो बहुत ही अच्छा रहेगा आप लोग के लिए. कितना बढ़िया था तब, कितना हम लोगों ने, सन्यासी लोगों ने सोचा कि आपके लाइफ को यू हैव टू डिवाइड टू 4 आश्रम्स. पहले क्या है, ब्रह्मचार्य. पहले आप क्या करें, गुरुकुल में चले गए, सीरियसली पढ़ाई लिखाई करिए, सीरियसली नॉलेज को लीजिए. उसके बाद क्या हो गया, आपने 25 साल से अच्छे से पढ़ाई किया, सीख लिए, हैंड्स ऑन ट्रेनिंग ले लिया आपने. सो यू गॉट एब्सोल्युटली द राइट नॉलेज, प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर लाइफ. देन यू गेट इनटू द गृहस्थ आश्रम. सो लुक एट द ब्यूटी ऑफ द इंडियन एथॉस. Many people think, to get married, to have children, संसार करना, ये ठीक नहीं. खाली आपको जाके आप तपस्या करिए, नहीं. द इंडियन इथॉस इज नॉट सेइंग दैट. द इंडियन इथॉस इज सेइंग आप पहला 25 साल नॉलेज लीजिए, सीखिए, उसके बाद आप एंजॉय करिए लाइफ को, गृहस्थ आश्रम करिए, आप पैसा कमाइए, आप शादी करिए, आप नेक्स्ट जनरेशन करिए. बिकॉज आप देखिए, आपको पता है मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि जापान, साउथ कोरिया में पॉपुलेशन गिर रहा है. पीपल आर नॉट गेटिंग मैरिड. सो देयर इज अ बिग ओल्ड एज. लाइक होना क्या चाहिए कि यंग एज ज़्यादा होना चाहिए पॉपुलेशन, ओल्ड कम होगा तो सपोर्ट करेगा. और जापान, साउथ कोरिया में क्या हो गया, इन्वर्टेड पिरामिड हो गया. पीपल आर नॉट गेटिंग मैरिड. सो यहाँ पर क्या, बुढ़े लोग ज़्यादा हो गए और यंग कम है, तो सपोर्ट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. सो लुक एट द इंडियन इथॉस. दे आर सेइंग नो, आप 25 साल पढ़ाई लिखाई करके अब आप हैंड्स ऑन ट्रेनिंग मिल गया है, आप शादी करिए और नेक्स्ट जनरेशन को तैयार करिए. तो आप 50 तक हो गया, उसके बाद आपको क्या करना है, वानप्रस्थ. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि आपने कर लिया, अब थोड़ा थोड़ा हल्का से आप रिटायर करिए, पीछे जाइए आप और नेक्स्ट जनरेशन को आगे आने दीजिए. अभी आप देख रहे हैं, मैं ऐसे मजाक से बोल रहा हूँ कि कुछ लोग रिटायर नहीं करते हैं. मजाक से बोल रहे हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मेनी मदर इन लॉज, दे आर नॉट रिटायरिंग, एंड देयरफॉर देयर इज अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट बिटवीन द मदर इन लॉ एंड द डॉटर इन लॉ. बिकॉज मदर इन लॉ सेज कि मेरा संसार है, मैंने सजा है, बट मैडम आपको तो कभी ना कभी छोड़ना ही पड़ेगा इसको. आप चेयरमैन है कंपनी के, आप बैठे रहेंगे, आपको तो नेक्स्ट जनरेशन को तैयार करना पड़ेगा. सो कितना देखिए थॉटफुल है हम लोग का. आप 50 तक बढ़ते गए, उसके बाद आप रिट्रीट, स्लोली रिट्रीट करते गए, लेकिन आप अवेलेबल हैं. आपका बेटा एक लाइफ में प्रॉब्लम हुआ, फादर व्हाट शुड आई डू, मुझे क्या करना चाहिए, बेटा ऐसा करो, ऐसा मत करो बेटा. तो आप उसको तब भी गाइड कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज वो लड़का आपका तब भी 26-27 साल का है, आपके पास अनुभव है, यू गॉट एक्सपीरियंस, सो यू आर गाइडिंग हिम. कितना अच्छा सिस्टम है. बच्चे को लगता है कि हाँ पिताजी हैं, ही इज एबल टू गाइड अस, मदर इज देयर, इज एबल टू गाइड अस, बट बैक सीट में आ गए आप 75 हो गए, अब बैक सीट नहीं, अब संन्यास. अब बेटा एडवाइस भी लेगा, बेटा का भी एज 45 हो गया, 50 हो गया. अब बेटा आएगा, नो माय सन, यू टेक द डिसीजन, आई एम नॉट अवेलेबल, नाउ आई हैव टू गेट इनटू कंप्लीट सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन मोड. कितना अच्छा था बोलिए तो ये विभाजन लाइफ में. सो नेक्स्ट में हम लोग लिंक करेंगे विद द गोल्स ऑफ लाइफ, पुरुषार्थ, धर्म, अर्थ, काम, मोक्ष. सो बेसिकली टू रिपीट वंस अगेन, कितना आवर सिस्टम सो गुड. व्हेन आई टॉक टू यू, एंड आई एम more than 60, but I find that this system is so good, and I'm speaking with, you can make out I'm speaking with so much passion and belief in what I'm saying, because I also have friends and relatives, you also have, who are in the West, but are they happy? They are richer than you, they have a bigger car, a bigger house, but are they really more happy? And the aim of life is ultimately happiness. So हमने जैसे बोले थे कि there are 4 stages to life. Now these are not in isolation. You have to link it to the goals of life, what is called Purusharth. Purusharth means there are 4, like some people say what's the aim of life. This सब Indian ethos में it's already discussed. The 4 things are dharma, अर्थ, काम, मोक्ष. कितना अच्छा है, इतना हाउ सुपीरियर आई फील इट इज. लाइक इन मेनी प्लेसेस आप देखिएगा, जैसे कि पैसा कमाना, टू अर्न मनी इज नॉट गुड. नो, यू आर सेइंग अर्थ मीन्स इकोनॉमिक गेन, अर्निंग मनी, हैविंग अ सरप्लस इन बिजनेस इज अ गुड थिंग. दिस इज द सुपीरियरिटी ऑफ द इंडियन ethos. It is not saying that earth is something which is bad. कामना मीन्स बेसिक डिजायर्स. ये भी अलाउड है इंडियन ethos में. आपके पास कामना हो सकता है, नथिंग रॉन्ग, बिकॉज एक बेसिक इंस्टिंक्ट है. इसको आप ज़्यादा दबाओगे तो और भी ज़्यादा क्राइम होगा, इसको दबाने का नहीं है. Let it be, it is very important that there should be kamna vasana, but within the boundaries of dharma. जब आपके पास you know where your boundaries are, you know where your limits are, then you will be a good citizen. Everything is linked. We have to be a good citizen. When you are within the boundaries of a good citizen, then the crime will go down. हम बोलते हैं राम राज्य. What is राम राज्य? Where there is prosperity, where there is happiness, and there is less crimes. Now, I also want to have a very big, nice car. Now, my neighbor has a very good car. So, what is it? My kamana is to have a very good car. So, therefore, should I then steal my neighbor's car or should I go somewhere? So, having the desire for a good car is good, but if it is within the boundary of dharma, I will not go and steal the car. I will not harm my neighbor. So, how do I do it? How do I get the big car? Through earth, through economic gains. So, I have to think, I have to work hard, long hours, sincerely. If it comes, very good. If it does not come, और भी अच्छा, because Bhagwan नहीं चाहते. That is how the Indian society is. If you get something, it's very good. But if you want something, it does not come to you, it is even better. That is what the Indian ethos is. So हम लोगों ने क्या किया? हम लोग ने, we have gone for economic gains, we have desires, we get married, we have relationship, but within the boundary. We don't do anything which is illicit. We don't do any business which is wrong. But after this, the aim of life is not all this. Aim of life is moksha. What is moksha? When you have the self-realization. So, ये सब ठीक है, धर्म, अर्थ, काम, but aim of life as per the Indian ethos is even higher than this. That is moksha, that is self-realization. That is when Atma and the Paramatma, the aim is to finally find God, the supreme being basically. Now basically when you look around nature, I want to bring this a very practical thing. Look at the different type of flowers that we have in nature. Some flower is violet, some is red, some is yellow. If you look at the leaves of the trees, a pine tree is so different from a peepal tree is so different from a cactus tree. You look at the different animals, look at the underwater. There is an octopus, there is a whale, there is a shark, and there is a small jellyfish, all coexisting. That is that supreme which has created such a beautiful thing. So when you think of that supreme, the aim of life is to have self-realization, to understand who you are and to become one with that supreme. Now let us directly apply it to business. We talked of earth. So here I am saying ki let us now apply directly our Indian ethos or earth directly to business or management. In many societies, we find that business is evil. Many Indians also I have seen saying, businessman hai matlab kharab. Nahi. The Indian ethos is, business is not evil, it is not unethical. Business can become sacred if done in the boundary of dharma. Every business will have an owner, he will start, he has taken all the risk. But ek hai ki I am thinking I am a malik, I am the owner, and one is I am thinking I am a trustee. This is all a part of God, all part of the Supreme, and I am only a trustee in charge of this. So when that attitude becomes ki I am not a owner, I will not exploit it, but I will try to develop it. So then what you do is, even that earning profit in Indian ethos is called Shubh Labh. Can you think? Many people say ki nahi, profit is bad. No, we are saying it is Shubh Labh. When it becomes Shubh Labh, when it is done with a higher level of management consciousness. And when you are doing it with due recognition to human ethical and sustainable values. See, today in the West, the ESG has become a very big thing, environment, social governance. Now, this is already there in our Indian ethos, that do your business not as something which is exploitative, but as something which you are doing because you are a trustee of the business. So when you think of as a trustee, when you think of long term, when you think कि हमको इसको ethically I have to manage everything, and there are many employees, I am the owner, but there are many employees, but I am thinking not of exploiting them, but thinking how to make them also feel very happy when they come into my organization. Then what happens is the business becomes a very, very sacred thing itself. Indian ethos demands the subjective management system, giving due importance to virtues like compassion, honesty, cooperation. Compassion means daya. Daya is not only for your pet dog or pet cat, which should be there, but are you having compassion for your own fellow employees, your fellow colleagues, your subordinates? That is very important. Are you honest in your dealings with them? Today, most of the time, when someone tells you something, particularly if he is someone's senior boss, your null hypothesis is that he झूठ बोल रहा है. He is telling a lie. He is trying to get something out of me because the trust is broken. The first thing we need to do as a leader is to build a bridge of trust. When will that happen? When you follow the Indian ethos. When I don't treat my employees as someone whom I'll come to exploit. In USA, in West, they say, thank God it's Friday. Can we say, thank God it's Monday? आज Monday है, आज Sunday था, कल Monday है सवेरे. We'll go to the office, we'll do some constructive work, we'll contribute to society. Why can't we do like that? That will happen if we follow this good Indian ethos, good value systems. So, we will do more in details in more lectures. So, I thought I will tell you that Veda and Upanishad is about the ancient wisdom on life. We all know a little bit of the Bhagavad Gita. We'll have a full session on that. It's a guide to duty, devotion, knowledge. And what a great country India is, that from this soil, Pavitra Bhumi se, 4 religions have come: Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism. Which land in the world has given us such good religions which are talking of peace, non-violence, compassion? Now even in West, they are talking of not medicines, but through yoga and meditation, many diseases can be cured. Mental well-being has become a very big issue now in the West. But actually if you do dhyan, if you do meditation, it can be done. And as I was telling, it's all about looking inward. The solution is all within you. There's no need to go all the time to counselors. We have a full this thing. A very good example I'll give to you. Normally, if a father is told, suppose he believes in astrology, and Guru comes and says, your son is very good, and his son is reading Bhagavad Gita all the time in class 5, 6. Father is worried. Bhagavad Gita पढ़ रहा है तो सन्यासी बन जाएगा, आश्रम चला जाएगा. So the father is worried because beta is reading Bhagavad Gita regularly. But that is exactly the opposite. What is Bhagavad Gita? We don't have any knowledge. What is Bhagavad Gita? Arjun said in the Mahabharata war that, Hey Sri Krishna, Hey Bhagwan, in front of me are my Acharya Drona, my Pitama Bhishma, my Kripacharya, I cannot fight with them. मैं सन्यासी बन रहा हूँ, मैं छोड़ रहा हूँ. And what did Lord tell him? No, this is your dharma. You have to be here. So, Bhagavad Gita is the Upadesh which actually tells you not to become sannyasi, but to do your dharma, your karma. But because of a limited knowledge, the average person is worried. The average wife will be very worried if your husband starts reading Bhagavad Gita daily. ये तो घर छोड़ चले जाएगा. नहीं, भगवद गीता में वो अच्छे से करेगा काम को. Whatever work is to be done, he will do it better. So this discussion that we are having is to give you a much clearer idea. Sometimes we are thinking exactly ulta, exactly opposite of what is the reality. Bhagavad Gita has nothing to do with the forest. It is about leading your life in a very proper way. So let us also see that what is the progress and contribution by Bharat to the world. You have heard some of the names, but we are like revising it. So we have Aryabhat and Brahmagupta. They are the pioneers of mathematics and astronomy. We have the zero and decimal system, India's contribution to global mathematics. Today the zero is something which is so common. So we have 1, 2 up to 9, and then imagine if you don't have the zero. Because of zero you can go to 10, you can go to 100, you can go to million, you can go to billion. What is billion? 10 to the power of 6. What is trillion? 10 to the power of 9. It is that zero. That has come from India. And when you go inside, it becomes 0.1, 0.01, 0.001. So without which the whole modern world is standing based on what was discovered, invented by our Indian friends, our Indian gurus. And sometimes it is done by sitting in deep meditation. It is not always by reading books. We have Sushruta and Charaka. We are the founders of the early medical science. Just imagine, thousands of years back, they have done research on medical science. Ayurveda, today we call it alternate medicine. But I think most of our grandmothers' generation, I am giving only one example. Haldi or neem, just one example I am giving. So haldi and turmeric and neem, they will, if you have it properly, it will give you a lot of health, goodness to health. Now our grandfather were not using Colgate toothpaste, they were using maybe a Dant Manjan or salt or this thing. What did this great multinational Colgate tell us? अरे आप लोग तो यार जंगली टाइप के हो, you are using this. And we started believing and we started using toothpaste. Now Colgate has come in advertising, इसमें नमक है, इसमें चारकोल है. So look at this beauty. हम लोग का ही चीज हम लोग को वापस कर रहे हैं वो लोग. And because of this colonization, if Colgate says something, we agree. पिताजी बोलते हैं नहीं, पिताजी बूढ़े हो गए, ग्रैंडफादर तो कुछ आता ही नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं है. ये अगर आई एम टेलिंग टू गिव यू दैट सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस इन योर सेल्फ कि हमारे अंदर, हमारे संस्कृति में सब कुछ है. योगा, अ ब्लेंड ऑफ फिजिकल, मेंटल एंड स्पिरिचुअल वेलबींग. आपका फिजिकल अच्छा होगा, मेंटल अच्छा होगा और स्पिरिचुअल अच्छा होगा. नाउ व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, हम लोग सब दौड़ रहे हैं, हाई कोलेस्ट्रॉल, हाई ट्राइग्लिसराइड, हाई ब्लड प्रेशर, हाई शुगर. सो 4 मेडिसिन लिया. कितने मेडिसिन वी आर हैविंग नाउ डेज. बट बिलीव मी एंड आई कैन वाउच बिकॉज आई हैव बेनिफिटेड डायरेक्टली एंड ऑल मोस्ट ऑफ यू हैव, दैट योगा कैन टेक केयर ऑफ मोस्ट ऑफ इट इफ यू डू द प्रॉपर योगा. अभी योगा टीचर्स आर नॉट अवेलेबल. जस्ट सोचिए, हम लोग का ही निकला इंडिया से और अभी सिखाने वाला नहीं है कोई प्रॉपर. और वेस्ट इज ट्राइंग टू लर्न. आई विल गिव यू वन मोर स्मॉल एग्जाम्पल. हम लोग फूड हाथ से खाते थे. व्हाट डिड द यूरोपियंस टेल अस? आप लोग जंगली हो, यूज द फोक एंड नाइफ. नाउ साइंस इज टेलिंग अस दैट व्हेन यू हैव ईट विद द हैंड, द फिंगर्स, rice and dal, it senses, the nerves are so strong that it gives a signal to the digestive system to generate the right juice. So again, my friends and students, The whole purpose of this lecture is to develop that self-confidence in you. So yoga and globally for wellness and Indian cuisine. Today, you asked a European whether he wants to have Indian food or European food. He wants to have Indian food because it is tasty. It has got spices which are very good for health. So this is a huge influence of the Indian culture on the world. And someone who has done a study of both the Greek, Roman, books and our own Ramayana, Mahabharata, Ved, Puran, many people, Western scholars are saying that these are actually much more richer. So we in India have to believe. How many of us actually know the enough of this basically? So we'll try and discuss a little bit in the short sessions we have in future. Then we have regional languages. There have been rich literary works in Tamil, Hindi, Bengali, Telugu, Kannada, Marathi, etc. So these are very, very rich languages. Look at the classical dance forms we have: Bharatnatyam, Kathak, Odissi, Kathakali, Manipuri, etc. Our Indian music, your Hindustani, Carnatic traditions. So we have this unity in diversity, one nation, many cultures. So India is a land of diverse language, religions and traditions. Despite our differences, the unity is maintained through shared values. The principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole world is one family, has been told to us 1,000 years back. It is coming to the world today. So I think, friends, in this session, I gave you a glimpse, I gave you an overview of, we'll discuss things in details as you go along. But I would really like to believe that, friends, please take out some time. You must pursue your, whatever you're doing, computer science, coding, AI, ML. I'm a student of science, I want to support you. Whatever student you are, medicine, you may be a government officer, you may be a scientist, but please take out some time to understand the richness of Indian ethos. Please don't, and when you shake hands with a Westerner like you do, you must be able to shake hands and say that I'm an Indian and I can do anything, with that confidence. That confidence which was lost to us 200 years back, let us again regain that confidence that my India is a great civilization, is a great country, and I am an Indian. I am proud to be Indian. I am proud of Bharat. I am proud of Bharatiya Sanskriti, because there is a lot of richness, there is a lot of treasure here. We will also respect the other countries' traditions, other countries' cultures, but we'll remember about the great heritage, the great culture that we have had. So while we will respect and we will keep on absorbing, so as Mahatma Gandhi ji had said, that we shall keep our western windows open and let the air come in, but let it not drift us from our feet, right? So it's our customary thing, gratitude. So thank you. We come to the end of this session. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.